Hello, this is Jakob from Flamingo Fixed. I just came back from a trip with this bike, which was about 1,700 kilometers long, 15,000 meters of climbing over the Alps and over the Dolomites, once over the Alps again. And today I'm going to show you everything that I took with me. Let's start with the things that I was carrying on my body. A helmet, of course, some SL cycling shoes, my heart rate monitor, and this hydration backpack. In my hydration backpack I also stored a couple of things, mainly my hygiene stuff, a toothbrush, toilet paper, some soap, and a razor. And I did not have toothpaste because we only had one tube of toothpaste, and Max was carrying a file for my nails because I hate having long nails and I hate cutting them, so I always take a file. I can't find it, it's gone. In there was also a blister of painkillers that unfortunately I had to use. After a day of riding in rain I had some saddle sores, I think you can say. Additionally to the hygiene stuff I also have my spoon in here. I like having a full-size spoon and not a super small thing. This one is very light and super cheap, €1 Sea2 Summit plastic spoon, but proper size. A small lock to lock the bike in front of a supermarket. Then I also have emergency money in here, plus my debit card and my ID. And in there also was a small mini pump that I just lent to a friend. So it's not in here anymore. I think that's everything that was in here. And then additionally I have my phone in the front here. Easy to access like this, and on some days I was also carrying some snacks on the other side, and then of course water inside of the water bladder. Where do I put my phone now? I will need it later. Okay, then everything else I was carrying on my bike. I will show you each bag and what's inside individually until the bike is completely empty basically. Let's start with the saddlebag, which carries the sleeping setup plus my spare kit, the seat bag and the frame bag I made myself. When I opened this, the first item to come out should have been my tarp, but my tarp is in Swiss right now. So just imagine me pulling out a 250 gram tarp, which I don't have at the moment. Besides all the sleeping stuff, I also carry my spare kit in here. I've got my spare bib, then an additional jersey, my hammock, including the whoopee slings to attach it to a tree. So also self-made. Then the sleeping bag, the Sea2 Summit SP1, I think it weighs about 340 grams or something, so it's crazy light, and I think comfort temperature goes down to 8 degrees Celsius or something, maybe 10. I prefer to sleep a bit warmer. 10 degrees would probably be a bit too cold for me. I have used this in 10 degrees. If I knew it was 10 degrees in the night, I would probably take a bigger sleeping bag. And then additionally, the inlet of the sleeping bag, just a silk inlet that I can wash now after the trip, and the sleeping bag stays clean even when I jump in there being wet or sweaty or full of sunscreen and dust and whatever. This is not in my sleeping bag now, but this is in the inlet, which is kind of stinky actually. So this will go into the washing machine. It's basically like a bed sheet for your sleeping bag. That's all that was in the saddlebag. Now let's continue with the top tube bag. In the top tube bag I have a pair of socks. The socks are in here to prevent the rattling sound that the other stuff that's in here would make on rough roads, and the roads were really rough at times. My charger with USB-C and USB-A connection, and two of these small cables, one to charge the USB-C stuff and one for the cycling computer and everything that has the micro USB. A spare battery for the GoPro that I actually never used because I always got to charge the GoPro. The stakes for the tarp were also in here, and that's everything that was in the rear part of this top tube bag. And in the front I always had my GoPro camera. The rest of the front, like this part here, was reserved for snacks, candy, gummies, stuff like that. Sometimes this was really stuffed, but that only meant that I had to eat my candy faster, so that wasn't too terrible. And now to the big frame bag. One of the easiest thing to reach on the whole bike is, or was, my rain jacket. I decided to take a proper rain jacket. We have one day with quite some rain where I might have gotten away with a lighter rain jacket, but then the last day of the trip, when I was coming over the Brennerpass, over the Alps, approaching Germany, the weather got worse and worse with every kilometer, and in the end it was just rain pouring down, headwind, super annoying. And there I was really happy that I bought the proper rain jacket, even though it's not the best anymore, but it's a lot better than my light jackets that were the alternative. So really nice to have this, even only for that one day. On that one day I really was on my limit already, and being protected from the rain a bit better might have made a difference in the end. Then the frame bag also contains my clothes for off the bike, the base layer that I was wearing as a t-shirt, some leggings that I would put on if it got colder or when I was off the bike, another pair of thick socks for sleeping just to make it more comfortable. Cycling socks are not really comfortable off the bike, I think. In theory there should be a pair of boxer shorts in here, but it seems like I already unpacked them and probably, hopefully, put them in the washing machine. That's all the clothes that I was carrying. Also in here was my 10,000 mAh external battery. When I got this, I tried to get the lightest one possible. I already got it a couple of years ago. On this whole trip, I've never used the external battery. We had the chance to stay with friends or friends of friends a couple of times, and I could recharge all my devices there. I was thinking about bringing a bigger one, like a 20,000 mAh, because I was filming a lot and I thought I want to make sure that the camera is charged at all times. Max and Robert were also carrying cameras that they didn't use in the end, but that meant I always had a charged camera nearby in every situation. Yeah, that's why I took the small one and not the bigger one. I was carrying the small bottle of sunscreen that we also shared for 3 people. Then in here, my emergency kit, my mini tool, 1 tube, 1 tire lever, and there were also a couple of patches in here, but the patches I think we all used. I was telling you my sleeping setup was all in the seat bag, but that was not actually true, because my isomat was in here. It just fits better in there. It doesn't really compress well, so I don't like to have it in the seat bag and rather in the frame bag. Unfortunately, this had a defect the first day we had to use it. When it's blown up, there are separate chambers, and some of these chambers just randomly connected with each other. So they basically popped up and it was super uncomfortable after that. I mean, I still used it because it was still keeping me warm. Good thing with this is there's a lifetime warranty on it, and I will just send it in and they will either repair it, or if they can't repair it, send me a new one. Max, who has the same air mattress, on the same day had the same problem. I don't know what happened there. Super weird. And the last piece of equipment in this bag is my down jacket, which I actually did not use, but it was really good that I was carrying it. In the end, Robert ended up wearing this most of the nights because his sleeping setup was too cold. I wouldn't have needed it in summer, but I find it nice to have it because I sometimes, especially after a day with a lot of rain, I get cold really easily. And then I just want to be warm in camp. So after all, in Middle Europe, you never know how the summer is gonna get. And the summer before our trip had been kind of cold and rainy, so I wanted to be sure that I'm warm. That's all the equipment that was inside of the bags. Now let's check what else I have on my bike. Let's remove the bags real quick. And besides that, I was carrying a rear light just on the seat stay, then a front light that's on my head unit mount, my cycling computer, and I also attached this bottle cage holder plus another bottle. Since I had the drinking bladder, I hardly ever used this bottle. I thought I'd carry an extra bottle for sweet drinks, soft drinks and stuff. I don't want to put sweet stuff in the drinking bladder because it's really hard to clean once you got sugar in there. So next time I might even leave it at home. Then the bike itself. I was going with my Donlin setup in a kind of comfortable setup and a very light setup. Dura Ace cranks, Ritchie Evo Curve drop bars, 28mm Vittoria Corsa control tires. I was running a 51 teeth Kapstein Rufus Proline chainring and an 18 teeth cock. I was the only one with a flip-flop hub. The last 2 days I was riding alone in the Dolomites. I was switching for the 5119, but for the main part of the trip I was going with 5118. This super cheap carbon saddle from AliExpress, which I really like, but I wouldn't use it again for multi-day trips. For me this is a good saddle, but for multi-day rides I would mount something with a bit of cushioning at least, especially when the roads are as bad as they were in some parts, for example in Hungary. SPDSL pedals, I put the shallow aluminum wheels in, the Dura Ace front brake that I usually have on there. All in all, I was pretty satisfied with the setup. I could have left a couple of things at home, like the tarp that we didn't really use. I put it up exactly once because I thought, now that I brought it, I also have to use it. But in the nights when there was a thunderstorm predicted, we were always looking for a spot with a roof to put up our hammock. One night it was a watchtower for bird watching or something, and then the other night it was the starting point of a hiking trail, especially since we only had one for 3 people. Worst case, we would have had to build like a bunk bed, 3 hammocks above each other and the tarp on top. I could have also left the spare kit at home and just washed the kit that I was wearing during the day and let it dry during the night. Besides these few points, I was really satisfied with this setup and it worked perfect for me. I hope you got some inspiration for your next adventures, and if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up, recommend it to your friends, subscribe to the channel, and see you in the next video. Goodbye!